Well, hello, and thank you for joining the live stream. And hopefully this all goes according to plan. I've just noticed that my shaders is taking a while. That was a bit weird. Okay, so here we go. Let's start the game. I know, immersion broken already. I'll go for a private group. Sorry if my intro was overrunning there. Okay, so we're going to start the game up and we're going to look at scanning and mapping. This is the first time I'm attempting to do this all live, so we may have a few hiccups here and there, but hopefully not too many. And the whole purpose of this, of course, is to take you through live, answer any questions around scanning and mapping systems. And I know a few people have asked questions about this in the past, so let's go over it now. And of course, now I'll be using the very latest version of Elite, which has a new system, and it has the FCC scanner and all that good stuff. So we're going to go over it in detail. So just get a few things sorted out. If you're watching this on playback, feel free to fast forward until I sort myself out. Okay, so here's the FSS mode, and there are two modes that you can switch to. There's a combat mode, analysis mode, and in order to use the FSS scanner you need to be in the analysis mode. That's the straightforward stuff out of the way. Obviously I'm not going to talk about key bindings right now, different subject. I'm going to assume that you have your key binding set up, but I can give you some tips on how you might want to go about setting them up for just getting you started really. And of course you can ask questions in the chat if you do have a question around that sort of thing in terms of configuration. And I'm more than happy to tell you how I've got my ship configured, so you can feel free to ask away. Okay, so let's look at where we are right now. Let's just get into Super Cruise, and then we'll go from there. Because we'll look at scanning efficiently and mapping efficiently, and everyone asks what's worth scanning, and there are different play styles. Some people want to scan for money, some people want to scan for the strange and wonderful. That's me, because I have plenty of money and plenty of credit, so I don't need to worry about that one, but I will cover off both subjects. So at the moment I'll show you where we are in the galaxy. I was trying to get down to a star down here, but unfortunately the closest I can get at the moment is 515 light years, which is a bit frustrating. But that said, it is 3,408 light years below the galactic plane, so it's not an easy place to get to anyway. Unfortunately, maybe next time we might get a jump drive that will reach us that far, but I was just wanting to get to that particular system. That's kind of how I work, how I roll. Now we're in a system that's already kind of mapped, so what we want to do is now look around and find a system to go to that I haven't been to before, which there should be plenty. Let's get this onto realistic mode. I will do a guide on using the galaxy map as well, but I'm going to try and keep constrained to just scanning and mapping for this tutorial or guide. And I will put a caveat in straight away. This is the way that I do it, and I find it quite efficient, and so therefore you may have a better way. That's fine, and please let me know as well. But we're strictly going to cover scanning and mapping a system and what to look for and all that good stuff, and I'm going to give myself an hour and a half to cover those subjects. So the first thing I want to do is find a system that I haven't been to before, so we can go for, okay, that one is quite a busy system. So again, I will try and constrain myself to dealing with scanning and mapping, but I just can't help but notice that the system that I've just highlighted there has got two B-class stars, one A-class, two A-class stars. And what's special about them is that they are all the brightest they can be. And I know that because B is a star class and 0 is the brightness, and 0 is the brightest of stars, and 9 is the dimmest of that particular class. So it's a B-class star, it's as bright as it can be, and then the V indicates the size, and V is the average size. Call it size 5, and it's in Roman numerals. So if you get a 1V, that's a size 4. If you get an I, that's 3. I is 2, and I is 1. And size 1 is the largest of the stars. And they're the ones to go and hunt out, because they're always interesting to see. You can get some really massive stars. Okay, so let's move on from there, and let's go and jump to that system, shall we? I'm just double checking that I'm not going to get trapped down here. I shouldn't do. I've got plenty of jumponium, but like I say, I am really quite low down in the galactic plane, as you can see. Just trying to get to those weird places, because that's what I like to do. Anyway, without any further ado, let's jump into a fresh system, and hopefully we've got some stuff to scan. I also need some fuel. But I've got enough to get me there, and the stars that I'm jumping to are a B-class star. We've just had a look, and you can scoop fuel from a B-class star, so we're good to go. So let's go. Now, one thing I do need to do is to turn my game volume up, because I turned it down earlier. So let's just go into my... I'm sure you can hear it fine, but I need to turn up the volume. Oh, maybe not. Maybe you've all been sitting in silence too, so let me just adjust the volume. Hopefully that works for you. Okay. If you've got any feedback about the volume or the video or anything like that, let me know, and I will try to update as necessary. Let's just scoop up some fuel here. So, the very first thing you need to do if you want to scan and then map a system is you have to do the honk, which is basically using what's called the Discovery Scanner. And as you can see on the right hand side there, if I look at it there, that's the Discovery Scanner, and you just hold down your trigger or your key that you've got bound and wait till you get to the end, and you get the honk, and we have 6 bodies. Okay, now I know when I looked at this system before I came in that it had, I think it was 4 stars. Yes, it did. It had 4 stars. So that tells me already, 6 bodies tells me that there are 4 stars and 2 other type of bodies, which will either be planets or gas giants most likely. So I'm just going to move away from the star. I've got a full tank now, and what we need to do is throttle down and then activate the FSS scanner, and again use a keybind that you feel works for you. I've got mine on my HOTAS setup, and it's my little finger trigger, and that gets me straight into that, so I don't have to go looking at the keyboard, basically is why I've done that. And then for my radio tuning, I've assigned my throttle rotating button to do the tuning, so it works just like a radio tuner essentially. That way I can just swing it around and pause it wherever I want to, and that's just using the rotating button on the top of my throttle stick. Okay, so let's have a look at what we're looking at here to start with. Okay, as you can see, I've gone into this, and it says at the bottom there, filtered spectral analysis, and we have this tuner that we can move up and down. Okay, so what does all that mean? Well, basically everyone has done I've seen lots of guides saying if you tune to this particular location, this is what you'll find, and if you go here, you'll find this. Now, you don't really need to look at those guides, because if you look at the bottom right hand of the screen, as I sweep my scanner up and down, it gives you an idea of what you're going to find. So at the very end there, it says signal analysis, and there's nothing there. As I start to sweep down, it says gas giants. So if I had a blip on my scanner here, I can expect to find a gas giant. Now, the size of gas giant, or the type of gas giant, goes up from 1 to 5. So the higher you go, the more likely, let's say if we're in this range, it will be a class 5 gas giant. And if I scroll down to the lowest point, which is around about here, just before Water Worlds, that will be a class 1 gas giant. And I've already given the game away. Around this point, you will find Water Worlds, as it says. Scroll down a bit more, and we get Ammonia Worlds. No blips so far on our scanner though. After Ammonia Worlds, we run into Earth-like worlds, and we all like to find those, don't we? And then down from Earth-like worlds, you then start ending up into the rocky ice worlds, icy bodies, and basically you can see on the screen, you don't have to be a clever chappie or girl to get the way that this works. Icy bodies, rocky bodies, a little bit further down, high metal content, metal rich, and then you're into your asteroid clusters, and then down from there, anything else you discover will be either signal sources. If you're in a populated area, it'll be signal sources, things like degraded emissions and things like that. However, in a certain range where it says concentrated signal sources, you might well find these notable stellar phenomena, and those are the ones that are also to look out for when you're out doing your exploration. So let's go to see what we've got here. So the blip, okay, indicates, if I highlight right on top of it, that it's high metal content worlds. Now, if you're out here for the money, these pay okay, but by no means are the most valuable of places to scan or items to scan. The next thing we need to do, once we've tuned to a particular radio signal, we then need to use our whichever you've got key bound to move your scanner around. Now I've got my right hand hot ass joystick assigned to this because it works for me. You might have another method, but this is what works for me. And you look around, firstly follow the orbit lines there, and you can see as I'm following this orbit line, some arrows have appeared in the middle of my scanner, and they're pointing to something. As I swish round, yep, you can see that they're certainly pointing to something. So let's get in for a bit of a closer look, and when we go over the top, you'll see that you get a circle. That circle means you can now zoom in and try to focus on the planet in question. So to zoom in, I've key bound my joystick to the main trigger, which allows me to zoom in. And then when you get closer in, you can then focus on one of the sources and zoom in again. And to zoom back out to go to the other source, I've bound mine to my second trigger on my joystick. And that's how I can quickly zoom in and zoom out. And you can now see that we've completely scanned the system. Now, depending on what you scan, you will see that there are some options up in the right hand corner in terms of what you might find. Now on this one it says locations none. That means that it's firstly landable, and secondly that there are no things like biological things that you could possibly find, or things like volcanism and stuff like that. So this planet has nothing of interest to go and look at in terms of those locations. But then next to that we see resources, and this tells you what sort of resources you can expect to find on the planet's surface that you can break open using your SRV. And here you can see that there's a number of things, and they get rare as you go down to the percentage. So the rarest thing on this planet is tin, and obviously you can work out from there what other resources you might want. But we're not talking about gathering resources today, so I'm not going to dwell on that. I'm just explaining what this scanner does. Also on the right hand side you'll see there's more information about the planet, and you can see the Earth masses, radius, gravity, surface temperature, and so on and so on and so on. The main important ones to worry about are gravity, because once you get into the 1G and plus, you will find that your ship will accelerate towards the ground if you're not careful when you're coming into land, and you have to be careful with that. Another one, as an explorer, that you might be interested in, and this is the sort of thing that I'm interested in, is the orbital period. The lower that number, the more interesting that planet may well be worth going to look at. And once you get below one day, you might find a nice little scene that you could go and take a screenshot with, or make a nice desktop picture or something like that, desktop wallpaper. Right, anyway, we've completely scanned the system. Okay, so once you scan the system, you can then exit that, and I've got mine bound to the get weapons out on my HOTAS controller again, so it's all located on the controller, therefore I don't have to keep going to the keyboard to go and look for things. I'm just going to go to the system map now and have a look at the system and see what it looks like from there. So as you can see, there's a number of well, there's 2 B-class stars, 2 A-class stars, brightest types that they can be. We've got a metal rich we've got a high metal content world there, which we can't land on. And then we've got a rocket body with the little blue atmosphere type logo, and that kind of means that we can land on it actually. And its atmosphere is probably not the best description, but there is that blue arc, and that indicates you can land. So what we're doing now, we've found everything in the system. So let's go over and see how we can efficiently scan these planets. They're not too far away. 707 light seconds isn't very far at all. So let's select one of those and go and scan. So we'll head off in that direction using the compass on the, if I get it in focus on the middle of the screen there, that compass there, that tells me the white dot in the middle of that crosshair means I'm heading straight towards the planet, and lo and behold, there it is right in front of me. Okay, so it won't take us long to get there, and when we get down to about 8 or 7 seconds, we come off the throttle completely. We should find ourselves in a pretty good situation to start scanning not long after that. Like I said, if you've got any questions, it is a live guide, so oh, and I'm too busy talking and I'm going to overshoot. I might be able to scrape off a bit of speed by doing a little bit of a dive action there. Stop me overshooting and doing a loop of shame. Oh, just managed to stop myself overshooting there. A lot easier in a smaller ship. When you're in an Anaconda, they really don't move very quickly. But there we go, I managed to avoid the loop of shame, which is always good when you're doing a live stream. So anyway, we're staying in the blue zone on the throttle, and we will scan this planet. Well, we'll map it. We've already scanned it, and I'll show you the most efficient way of mapping planets as well. And don't worry, we'll go to a few more systems. We'll find some gas giants with rings, because a lot of people struggle when planets have rings on them, and I'll show you the best way to scan those as well. So here we are. Now, the reason I know that we're in the right place is that on the right hand side the surface scanner is lit up, and it means that I'm in a position where I can scan. You'll see if I start accelerating, it says too fast. That also means we're in the right location to actually map the planet, but the ship's moving forwards. So obviously you come off the throttle, and at that point you can start to scan. If it doesn't say either of those, then it means you're too far away. Okay, so I'm going to go into my mapping tool now, and that's called the Detail Surface Scanner. And let's see what we've got now. So we can still see the planet, and again I'm using my HOTAS right joystick to control where I focus. But let's talk about the information that you can see on the screen as well before we fire off any probes and all that good stuff. So on the very far left hand side you can see that there is like a scale, and in white is the sort of representation of the size of the planet for the particular type of size, and you can see it's slightly above average. The average is the plus symbol, so it's quite a big metal, high metal or metal rich planet, I think is the one that we've got here, and it's above average, so that means it's going to be slightly bigger, and it will need more probes potentially to actually scan the planet. And let's not worry about how many probes we need right now. On the right hand side you can see how many probes I can fire at once, and it's broken up into blocks, so there's 1, 2, 3, so I can fire 3 probes, put my teeth back in, 3 probes at a time, and obviously it will keep replenishing itself, and you can fire as many probes as you want to infinity. On the bottom left hand of the screen you can see there's a percentage, and it says percentage mapped, and that means how much of the percentage of the surface of that planet I've mapped so far. Currently 0. That makes sense, I've not fired any probes. And then let's go across to the probes then and look underneath there, and you'll see that on the right hand side you've got efficiency target. So essentially, if you've got a basic probe and you've not engineered it in any way, shape or form, then you should be able to probe a planet within 7 probes. Now if you go and get it engineered, you'll get like 30% more scan area, and therefore you'll be able to reduce the amount of probes you have to fire. Now I think my surface scanner is about 30%, so it will probe and scan more of an area, so I should be able to be efficient every single time. But even if you've got the basic standard one with no improvements, I will show you how you can efficiently scan planets and gas giants with rings and all that good stuff as we find them throughout this live stream. The last thing to point out is at the bottom right there it says planet side and it says front view, and I can switch that because again I've got a button assigned on my joystick where I can switch between front side and back view. Okay, so front view, back view, just by pressing a button on my joystick, and that's always handy. So let's have a look at how do we scan this one. Now the important number that we need to worry about right now is on the efficiency target. If you're worried about being efficient, it says that you need 7 probes or less to efficiently scan this planet. And so therefore you'd need to do a sort of calculation. Now, anything that's around 6 or 7, you can do what I call a Mickey Mouse scan. Gas giants are a bit different because they're a lot larger, but with these sorts of planets, and it's a 7 probe planet or 6, they're pretty much the same, I do what's called a Mickey Mouse scan. And a Mickey Mouse scan is, I just imagine Mickey Mouse's ears. If you don't know Mickey Mouse, then just basically fire the probes where I'm going to now. But imagine you're making a puppet face. So there would be one ear there, fire one over there, one ear there, and then one in the mouth. And the target that I'm using for is a dashed line. That's what I'm using as my guide. And that is the horizon of the planet. And that will give me what I call a standard Mickey Mouse scan. So let's see what percentage we get out of that. Okay, so you can see that we've now covered the 3 sort of main areas and horizons of the planet. And the reason that we do that is because if we're in a hurry and we want to make sure that we efficiently scan everything, if we do the Mickey Mouse scan first, you can guarantee if you do the next 2 probes that I'm going to show you, you will always scan a planet and you don't have to sit and watch the probes. You can just get on to the next target and be efficient. Okay, and so we've done the Mickey Mouse, and then it's one right in the face. Okay, and I think that'll probably scan the whole planet, but I'm going to just show you what I would normally do if I'm in a hurry, because I've got, you know, another 4 probes leeway. We're not worried about that. So it's one in the face and then one right behind. Okay, so one in the back. Now to find the back of a planet, hopefully it doesn't completely scan the planet, and I'll show you. I should be able to fire off a probe anyway, hopefully. Please don't scan it all. Don't scan it all. Good stuff. Right, okay, so that's the one in the face. Okay, now remember the hashed line is the horizon, and then anything above that is then starting to go around the back of the planet, and to the point where you'll actually completely miss the planet. Okay, so if I keep moving up, I'll get to a point and it says miss. So just before miss is kind of almost right back round the planet. So it would make sense, wouldn't it, that if you got in between miss and the hatched line, somewhere around about here, which makes a nice mini game. And now if I look at the rear of the planet, you can see the gap that I haven't scanned yet, and I'm thinking, so there's the horizon, I need to be in the middle of that and miss. I'm going to go here and then see if I can hit the white dot. Now normally I wouldn't wait for this to happen, I'd just do this and carry on, because you don't need to be worrying about that sort of thing. But here we go, let's see if I can hit the white dot live. The tension mounts. Just having a little beverage there, and let's see if we get it. Oh no, that was quite far off really, wasn't it? Must try harder. But there you go, that's a little game that you can play. Now that ended up being a little bit high, so I could have gone a little bit higher. When I say high, I mean high on the rear side of the planet. So I could have gone a little bit higher to get that right in the middle. The key thing is that we've got the efficiency target and everyone is happy. So let's come out of that then, using the keybind that you've chosen to not use that. Now there was a moon, and let's do that one as well. There's the moon. As you can see, it's got a little landing symbol next to it. That means that you can land on it. So we'll scan that as well. Now you'll find that this is a small moon, so it probably won't take many probes at all. At most, I think probably 3. But with my engineered surface scanner, I'll probably be able to do it in 2 without breaking a sweat. And then what we'll do is we'll pop off to another system, and hopefully we get a more interesting one with more planets and bodies, so that I can show you how to do things like gas giants and gas giants with rings. And I'm going to overshoot because I'm busy chatting away. I had to do it. Loop of shame. There we go. So yeah, if you are watching this, just let me know if the audio is good for you and the video and so on. That would be handy. Alrighty. So here we go. So surface scanner is lit up and it says 3. I've got the planet targeted, so that means that I can switch into it and do my scanning. So it says 4 probes actually, so that's quite a big moon. But I'm pretty confident, looking at the left hand side of my screen, it says it's lower than the average size body, because it's below the plus. I should be able to do this in 2, so I'm just going to hit it right on the hatch line each side of the planet, like so. Let's see. The tension mounts. Once we've done a few of these and you've got the idea, I'll show you some of the fun things you can have with the probes as well once you fire them off. Okay, so the first one got me, well, it's still going. Oh, there we go. 2 probes. Excellent. Efficiency target reached. We can come out of that view. Now, when you do this, if there had been any, on a landable, if there had been any surface points of interest, it would show on the top right of the screen. This planet, as we know, when we initially scanned it, didn't have any, so therefore we don't see it on here. So let's go and see if we can find a more interesting system and see what we can get out of that. So I'm just going to go to the galaxy map and see if I can find something that will more likely have something a bit more of interest. Oh, a black hole would be nice. Is that a black hole there? I thought I saw a black hole then. No, that's not a black hole. Right, the best way to find a black hole when you're in the galaxy map is to get a bright background, zoom in a little bit, and then just scan around. And because where I am in the galaxy right now, black holes should be fairly common. He says, trying to find one. Shout when you see a black hole. I will find one. And that's like a neutron star, and it is. Been playing this game too long. That's another neutron star there. I would rather have a black hole though. I won't spend too long looking for a black hole, but it shouldn't be that hard to find. Oh, there's one. Oh, there's 2. Like buses. That's 170 light years away. It should only be 2 jumps with a neutron star. There's enough neutron stars around here to sink a battleship. Or 4. Okay, let's have a look. 3 jumps is to be awkward. Alright, let's quickly fire over there. We might find an interesting system on the way anyway, but at least we'll end up at a black hole, eh? That's what it's all about. I don't know if you've been watching my Guide to the Galaxy, but I recently did the Planet of Death. To death, I think. But it's very interesting, and I would love to find a system like that where a planet does a close orbit around a black hole. That would be fantastic. So would be nice to find one of those one day. Ultra rare though. Oh, this is taking a long time. Get ready for a server error. Oh, no, we're okay. Alright, let's do a quick scan. 8 bodies. Okay, so 8 bodies. There's only 1 star, so that means all of these bodies will be planets of one sort of shape, size or description. And of course, if we want to know exactly what is in the system, we can't, like we used to be able to do, we can't just go into the system map, because as you can see, we've just got a star. But what we do now, of course, is go into our discovery scanner. Well, we fired the discovery scanner, but now we're in the FSS mode, and I've already spotted something that sidetracked me a little bit. I can see that we've got a planet of interest here as well. But in the FSS mode, we can then start to see what we've got, and that's not by going round and zooming into these targets that are showing up, just purely by looking at the bottom filtered spectral analysis bar. And as we were looking at before, we know that as we go up and down the bar, it tells you on the bottom right what sort of object it may be. So these ones here appear to be metal rich, high metal, and that's about it. So yeah, metal rich and high metal, and then we're on to rocky bodies, which there are none. But the one of interest, of course, is this one a little bit further up the scale, and I have a feeling that's either going to be a water world or an ammonia world or an Earth-like. Chances of an Earth-like on a live stream, very narrow. Let's see what we got. And it's a water world, quite common. And so let's go and scan that one first. I was hoping for a gas giant, but we don't have any, as you can see. No gas giants. But we will take a look at what we've got. What's this over here? Alright, let's start with this one. Let's not have to go back on ourselves. So looking at this, both of these planets I can tell without going and scanning them do not have rings. And the way that we can tell a planet has rings is that if you look at those arrows that are pointing towards the bodies, yeah, you'll see that they're quite close together. Now if they splay out at the end, that means that the planet has rings. So I'm confident that both of these planets, yeah, are going to be non-ringed planets. And I'm also confident that, let's see, I'm pretty confident it'll be high metal. And there we go, high metal. No locations to go and look at, and we're not really worried about that at the moment. I'm just explaining how this works. And there's another, so that one's a rocky body right on the edge of the scale there. Again, no locations, nothing of interest. Let's see what else we got then. Now we know there's a water world out here because we've already identified that, but we'll just pick up any sources and map the system. There's only eight bodies in total. So this one would obviously be a high metal or rocky. And this one's got a, oh, it's terraformable. Nice. So if you're out looking for money and exploring at the same time, maybe you need to get your explorer rank up. Terraformable planets are ones that are worth going off to scan a map. Okay, we'll come back to that one in a bit. Let's see what else we can find. There's a planet there which isn't actually got a full solid circle, which means that I need to adjust my radio tuning. Okay, see that? It can be quite fine. So make sure you get a solid circle, and then you can zoom in and map the planet like so. Now notice that on the top right, the scanning this time doesn't say none, and it actually says scanning. One of my slight bugbears is it takes a long time for this to happen, and when you're trying to get somewhere or you just want to crack on, waiting for that to actually resolve can be quite painful. And then after all that, we just get 4 geological, and it would be nice to get some biological in there as well, but there we go. Oh, hi Kermit, thanks for joining. I just noticed your comment there. A commentary around even a Y-type would be interesting. Y-types have surprising large exclusion areas. Yeah, they do. We're just making our way to a black hole at the moment and scanning stuff as we go. But yeah, Y-types, all planet. Never ignore a system. You never know what you're going to find in there. You know, go and have a look, especially if you're into your exploring as much as I am. Okay, so let's come out of that one and let's quickly finish off. Now, this one Okay, you can see that there's arrows pointing, but they go into the star. That means that the object that we want is behind the star, so we're going to have to move our ship to get that one. Oh, we'll come back to that in a minute. Let's not worry. Let's just see if there are any more. Did I just see something flash down there? No. It also helps to make sure you're on one of the blips to make sure that you're tuning properly, and it helps the arrows become brighter or dimmer. I've got a feeling everything else we want is behind the star. I'll just go right round the opposite way and see if there's anything going to pop out. Doesn't look like it, does it? Right, so we need to move. Oh, there's one sneaky one hiding there. There's more than one. So let's go in here and see what we got. Start with this one. Higher metal. And then this way. Oh, that's interesting. Let's go the other way. Oh, just looking there. No, I don't think those are far enough out. This is the water world, by the way, as you can tell by the bottom part of my scanner. But I don't think those arrows are far enough away to indicate a ring, so I'm gonna call it no ring. And it's just a plain water world with no rings, as I suspected. Okay, we just need to move then to finish off this last scan. You can't scan through a star, so let's just do that now for completeness of this system. That water world is also non-terraformable, which means that it won't be worth as much. The most valuable planet that you can scan in Elite Dangerous is a terraformable water world. A lot of people think it's the Earth-like, but Earth-likes aren't quite worth, or are not quite worth as much as the terraformable water. Crazy, I know. Okay, so let's. There's not a lot in it though. There we go. Let's get that last one. Okay, system scan complete. Now, we've already scanned most of these types of planets before, but I'll just take you back into the system map and explain what we're looking at in terms of what we've scanned in this system. So obviously the star gets scanned by default. You don't have to do anything for that. And then we've got all of these planets here, as you can see. That one looks quite pretty, and these are a binary. And if their orbit lines are close together, which I'll show you in a second how you can tell, then that can make some nice screenshots too. But what we'll do first, and I wish, one of my wishes on my wish list is that the system map would always default to the information. This particular view here, where it just says system summary, is only of any use if you're in a populated system. As we're explorers, well, I'm an explorer, this first tab does nothing for me whatsoever apart from being able to switch to the Ori view. Anyway, details is where we want to be if we're an explorer, and this will tell us about the planets that we've got highlighted. So the first one, we can tell it's got the little blue halo. That means we can land. It's got silicate vapor geysers, so there's places of interest to visit. And it says I've not mapped it yet, but there's no other information about that apart from, of course, the resources that you could pick up from the planet's surface. And we're not doing resources today. We're sticking to planets, scanning and discovering. Next one up. We've got a planet with an atmosphere. That means that we can't land on it at the moment. And it's also got a moon, but we can land on that. The moon is orbiting, is a 34-day orbit. So that moon is orbiting really far away from the planet, so it's not going to make a nice view, so really no reason to go there. Next planet is the terraformable one that we found. Now that one is worth some money. So if you're looking for money or to rank up, then this is the place to go. Go and scan that one. You will get a good chunk of cash for that and boost your exploration rank. Next up, we've got this high metal content, kind of average, not a lot of value in this one. It's not terraformable. And then we've got the water world. That has value. That's worth, water world's always worth scanning, but terraformable ones are the ones where the big money is. And I can tell you that I've scanned water worlds that are terraformable that have netted 3 million credits for the one planet. So therefore, it's always good to go and scan those. And also your codex, remember, when you get the really big ones, a big terraformable water world is like, you know, Christmas come early. And then just a basic planet out there. Now, the only landable ones are these two with the halos. Nothing of interest on either of those. Well, there is the silicate vapor geysers, but I'm not going to go there right now. What we will do, though, is we will map this terraformable one. What size are we on? So, Earth masses, radius. So it's quite big. I'm going to hazard a guess it may be a 8 or 9 probe. Let's just fly to that one. I should have started off beforehand because I've got to fly there now. And then hopefully the next system we can have a look at doing gas giants, and especially ones with rings, or any planets with rings really, because they can be a bit tricky if you're trying to map those planets, and I will make sure I will show you the very best and quickest way to do those whilst we do this live guide. Hi Jules, thank you for your comment. Love the detail. Yeah, you're welcome. I've got loads of detail. I've probably forgotten more than what I know. And if you've got any questions, do ask. I do like questions. More than happy to answer them, give you any tips. And I'm glad you're learning some new things here. There's so much in my head. I wish I could remember to actually give it out all the time. So yeah, if you've got a question, always ask, especially around exploration. It's my thing. So down to about 8 or 7 seconds, I'll get into the blue zone, make sure I don't overshoot. There we go, and then we can approach the planet as quickly as possible. And if you do want to get to the planet really quickly and you don't want to worry about your throttle, you can actually just fly straight into the planet. You won't die. You'll lose about 1% hull. The only issue is that you'll be right next to the planet, and it makes mapping the planet a lot harder. You want to be mapping as far away as possible. So at the moment, look at the left hand side, surface scanner out of range, it says. So I can't come off the throttle yet. That needs to change to say too fast, and then I can come off the throttle. Stay in the blue zone. As soon as it says too fast, there we go. I can come off the throttle. Oh, I'll come off the throttle a bit too late there. Then he face plant the planet. I don't really want to get right up and close to it, which is fine, you see, because what I can do now is I can just point away from the planet like that. Now, something that you might not know is you don't have to face the planet to scan it. Okay. Now, a lot of people will go back and they'll, in an Anaconda, it's painful. It moves so slow. You're like, oh, I need to go all the way back now because I need to map this planet. Finally. And then you go into map. Yeah. Okay. We don't need to do that. In fact, what I'll do is I'll point, if you look at my compass, I'll point directly away from the planet. So it's just gone into, when it turns to a black circle, it means it's behind me in the compass, which if I focus on it, it's down there. Yeah, and then I'll get that black circle right in a minute, and I will then be pointing directly away from the planet that I want to map. There we go. So I'm now pointing away from the planet I want to map. Now most people say, well, that's no good. How are you going to map the planet? Exactly the same as you would if you was facing it. You just press your scan button, point your scanner behind you, and hey presto, there's the planet. So you don't actually have to face the planet to map them, okay? You just stop anywhere close by and you can map the planet just by using this view to focus on the object you want to map. So I predicted what was it, 789. This is a 7 prober. So it's just a Mickey Mouse scan, and I'm going to probe these ones that we've probed before, but I'll be doing it in a quicker way so you can see how I go about probing and mapping these planets quickly. So it's just a bish, bosh, bash, in the face, and just for speed, one behind. Okay, now I can come out of there. I don't need to watch that animation. I'm already pointing away from the planet. Okay, and I just wait for the magic notification to say that I've successfully mapped the planet. Let's see. In 3, 2, 1. Look at that. Mapped a planet without even looking at it. How clever is that? And I didn't have to wait around for the animation and everything else, because trust me, when you're trying to map a system, you don't want to wait around from that stuff. You want to scan and get out of there. Yep. So, did I want to map anything else in this planet, or should we just go and find some gas giants? Because those ones are a bit more challenging. I'll tell you what, let's go and do this binary. I do like binaries, and of course trinaries. When you see another little arrow coming up on the top again, those are the real gems. Always go and have a look at those. Always check them out. But I like binary planets. I like them. Closer the better, obviously. Especially landable ones. If you're wondering why the oh no, I've got a massive glitch that I thought it's going to die on me. I thought my computer was going to die then. Big pause. I thought they fixed that bug. If you're wondering why the galaxy looks a bit weird, as in the skybox, it's because I'm really low, really far beneath the galactic plane. I can show you that if I go outside the ship a moment. Whilst we make our way to this binary system. As you can see, below me, it's really pretty damn dark. There's not many stars down there at all. I was trying to get to a particular star, but I didn't have the range, so I'm about nearly 3,000 light years, or maybe a bit more, below the galactic plane, which makes for some interesting viewing, because it looks like we've got it's a cloudy day. But that's the galactic core up there. We're just really low in the galactic plane. I know it's all relative, but you get the idea. And there's my anaconda. Okay, so we're just making our way to this binary system, and we'll go and map it. There we go, 20 seconds, less than that to go. So it's a binary system. Now if they're close together, I say binary system, it's a binary planet. If they're close together, you could probably map both of them quite quickly. Well, let's see. Down to 6 seconds, not paying attention. Try and scrub off some speed just by doing a little dive. Save me doing a loop of shame. Yeah, I think I managed it just about. There we go then. Right, so the one I've got targeted is the I think I targeted the water world. Yeah, it does say on the bottom left there, Anarchy water world. Let's get it away from the all those clusters of stars. It looks much nicer when you get a dark background. It's another reason why I like being below the galactic plane or above it high, because you can get some better screenshots, because you get a nice crisp view of the planet. Okay, so again we're waiting for it to not say out of range. We want it to say too fast. You pretty much know where it is. As soon as it fills that reticle, you're pretty much there. Okay, so we're here. It's 6 probes. You know, one slightly behind, one slightly in front, one at the bottom, and one in the face. Okay, and that's that done. Right, now you can chase your probes, by the way, when you fire them, and have some fun with that. If you fire a probe and deliberately miss, that can be some fun as well. There you go. Oh, look at that! It's like I've done it before. Yeah, firing probes and then chasing them is quite fun actually. Right, let's quickly go and map this other planet. Is that the one? Yeah. Let's quickly go and do that one. So yeah, one of the biggest tips really is you don't have to be facing the planet to map it, and if you're in a hurry, don't wait around for the animations. If you do the sort of scanning that I'm doing now, or mapping, using your Mickey Mouse process, as I like to call it, there really is no reason to hang around. It works every time. And of course I highly recommend, wow, this looks like a steel ball, doesn't it? Yeah, there's no need to hang around. Just, you know, do the Mickey Mouse scan and get going, get on to the next one. And that's what I'm going to do with this one. And remember, I don't have to face the planet. Yeah, don't worry about facing the planet, and you don't want to get tucked into the gravity well and then struggle to get away. So, you know, scanning off to the side is probably more efficient anyway. So in we go anyway. So it's 7 probes, so it's another Mickey Mouse scan. So it's 1, 2, a little bit behind, a little bit in front, and let's fire one right round the back. Thank you very much. Right, let's go. And that's all you need to do. I'll just mess about following the probes for a second. Show it. Just so you can see it in action. Look at that. sweeping round there. Will he get the back? Will he do it? Oh, he's done it. What was that? Something just went off there and I wasn't paying attention. Apologies. I was sorry, I missed that, whoever that was. But appreciate you joining, subscribing or following, and say hi in the text so I can give you a shout. That would be great. I would appreciate it. So thank you for that. Sorry, I was lost in my mapping mode there for a minute and missed that. Okay. Right. Yeah, please give me a shout in the text. And I will give you a mention. That would be much appreciated. And Jules just found some biological locations. Thought they were only in Nebula. Looking forward to seeing what's down there. Oh yeah, biological is always great. Can be disappointing if it's always bark mounds. Right, anyway, let's find another system. Oh, we're on the way to the black hole, aren't we, actually? I forgot. Yeah, let's carry on with that. Right, here we go then. Black hole. Oh, I don't want to emergency exit. There we go. So I've got... Oh, it's a white dwarf. Oh, blimey, I've spent enough time at a white dwarf for the last 3 days with a planet of doom. Doom and death. 2 rebuys, that cost me that. But it's worth it though. It's stunning. And if you've not seen it already on my channel, you'll see on YouTube and actually on Twitch, I made a little short montage with some music of Planet Death. Great place to go, but wait for the guide if you don't know what you're doing to get on the planet, because there's only a small window of opportunity to land. The rest of the time your ship will blow up. And don't stay on the planet and your ship, because that will also blow up. Oh, there we go. So it's a white dwarf. I have to say, out of all the stars, it's just a white dwarf in the system. How far have I got to go? 40 light years to go. Well, I've got... what have I got? I have... okay, 76 light year current and up to 78 because I added some more stuff. This Anaconda normally sits around 80 light years, but I've added some things like weapons and silly stuff, repair limpets to help other commanders and stuff. But anyway, 78 is not shabby, is it? But the thing is that I don't have to risk scooping this white dwarf because my next jump is only 40 light years, so why take the risk? Because as I was about to say, white dwarfs are the most dangerous objects to try and scoop from, scan from, because quite often their jet cones look shorter than what they are, and you end up going in the exclusion zone, and then you die, basically. So white dwarfs really are the most dangerous stars. Forget neutrons, forget black holes. White dwarfs, the most deadliest. And I have to admit, I think I've been consumed by at least 2. I have managed to escape them as well. Sometimes if you get knocked out, you can select another system. If it's in the direction you're pointing while everything is blowing up around you, you can actually hyperspace out. But it's not easy. Definitely not easy. Okay, so I think next stop is a black hole, so we want to come off the throttle before we get there. Otherwise you just end up in the black hole. So there we go. So black holes, okay, they might look scary, but unless they're really super massive, you don't have to worry about it. Actually, we've stopped quite far away from this one. That's quite big. 5 million meters. That's quite a big black hole, I have to say. Normally it would be about 2 millimeters. Because it's 5, I know that's not a small black hole. Alright, so anyway, we fired off our... I'm just going to point slightly off to the side of it, because it's not dangerous. What have we got here? Again, it doesn't look like we've got any gas giants though, unfortunately. 17 bodies. Oh, I don't really want to scan 17 bodies of stuff that we don't really want to scan. But it's just a load of bodies around a distant star. In fact, something I didn't talk about before actually is you can tell the distance without having to come out of here. Just thought I'd mention that. Like I said, I've forgotten so much. I'll tell you what else. That it's almost looking like a ring planet. But anyway, aside that, where I've now focused it in the middle of the reticle there, if you look over on the left hand side, you'll see it says distance in light seconds. So this body that I'm about to zoom in on is actually 3,681 light seconds away, which isn't that far really in terms of Super Cruise. And it's an icy body, but not ringed. I thought the lines there were far enough apart to indicate that it was ringed, but obviously not. See that again, that one almost looks like ringed, but it's not. Right, anyway, there we go. There's a few scanned. I'm not going to stick around because I want to find some gas giants and do those for you, because they're a lot harder, they're a lot bigger, they need more probes, and ringed ones of course are even harder still. Unless of course you follow this guide, and I will show you how to tackle that problem. I don't know where the black hole went. I won't worry about it now anyway. Let's crack on. Right, let's try and find some gas giants. I'm just going to keep jumping now until I find gas giants, so I've got something entertaining for you. And I'll try not to get sidetracked, because whenever I'm in the galaxy map I'm always looking for stuff that looks interesting to go and visit. I'm terrible. Ooh. See what I mean? I'm terrible. But I just noticed that this is an O-class star. It's quite a dim one. O-class stars are the biggest stars in the galaxy, and they're the rarest. But also, it's not a V. It's not a size 5. It's not a size 4. It's a size 1, 2, 3. 3i, size 3. That is big. That's worth a look. Come on, let's go and have a look at that. This is the explorer in me. I can't help myself. Hopefully, you never know, it might have some good stuff there when we get there as well. So we're off to an F-class star, which is great for scooping, pretty common, and quite often have things like water worlds and Earth likes. Handy to know, eh? So we'll just get over there and get that. I like to fill your heads with other useless information as we doing anything other than mapping or scanning. But this is live after all. Keep it entertaining. Okay. So let's see if we've got any goodies here. Oh dear, 37. Oh, whenever I see that many I think, oh, do I really want to do all those? But of course you always want to have a look to see if there's anything worth actually going to visit. And I can't help but leave my thing here. So anyway, I've filled up with fuel. Let's just move away from the star a little bit, and then we'll have a quick look at our DSS scanner and see if there's anything worth going to look at. So off the throttle and have a look. Oh wow, we've got a right old I told you that now before I got here, this is live, I did say that the F-type stars quite often will have things like water worlds, Earth likes, and looking at this spectral analysis bar, we've got pretty much everything in this system. And there's going to be a water world, there's going to be maybe an ammonia, potentially an Earth-like, who knows, but they're really rare. I doubt I'd find one of those in a live stream. But we've also got gas giants. It's all going on. So let's see what we've got. So asteroid clusters. First thing, let's get those out of the way because they are right pain they are. Okay, well let's just scan everything we get to. These won't be asteroid clusters, but there we go. So we'll just quickly scan these. Again, I'm using my main trigger to zoom in and my secondary fire to zoom out. It's the quickest way that I've found for me that works. There's got stuff over there. Just use our scanner. Try and get some arrows to pop up. Yeah, and then that means that you're in the right zone for going off to look. So, judging by how far apart these are, we've definitely got some ring stuff going on. That's definitely ringed, whatever that is. Okay, so this is what I was on about before, about knowing when you found a ringed body, and you can do that without actually going to zoom in on it. If you look how far apart those arrows are pointing, that's indicating, yeah, that this should be a ringed planet, well, a ringed gas giant. And you can see there they're really splayed out now. They're not focused, they're spread out. That means that is a ringed body. And as if by magic, there we found a ringed body. Okay, and close by to that is a planet, and one of the other things that I like to do is hopefully find a planet that's so close to the ringed gas giant that it's actually inside the ring. Now, there's a bug on this that it doesn't always populate the left-hand side, sorry, the right-hand side. And orbital period is what I'm interested in. I know this is kind of off the side, but this is me, I can't help it. 4.4 days, yeah, orbital period. That means it's way, way, way away from the ring. Okay, so no interest to me whatsoever. I know it's the closest planet to the body because it says B3A. The last letter indicates in order which is the closest planet to or closest moon to a gas giant. It says A, it's the closest one. It's 4.4 days of an orbital period. That's miles away from the gas giant's ring, so I'm not interested in that whatsoever. So sorry, goodbye planet, we're not interested in you. Right, let's just quickly scan the rest of these. And you know, you don't have to scan right in and wait for it to complete the animation. What we got here? Oh, asteroid cluster. Okay, what else we got here? Again, use the focus to try and make sure you get in on the right sort of object. That's quite busy, isn't it, down here? There we go. Let's get these. Well, that's going to be asteroid clusters. Let's get them out of the way. And this is going to be a body. Metal rich, is it? Anyway, let's crack on and get the rest of these done. We've got a gas giant to go in map anyway. Hopefully I can find one a bit closer. And again, I'm just using my twisty knob on my throttle to do the radio tuning. What's going on here then? Like I said, if you've got any questions you want to ask me, feel free to ask. Sometimes I can waffle on if you want to know anything detailed about what I'm doing, or wondering why you ended up on my YouTube channel or Twitch stream because you was looking for something completely different, maybe a cute kitten. Obviously just ask and let me know. So there's another ring there. Notice that the fact that the arrows were splayed out, which means that it's going to be ringed. That works for planets as well, not just gas giants. I'm just going to quickly map the rest of the system now, and then we can go and choose some stuff to go and map. Oh, Jules, you got Rosium sinus tubers. That's the first. Yeah, I've actually never discovered one of those myself. First time. I've found them obviously that have already been discovered, but no, I've not found that biological point of interest before. So congratulations. I'm jealous. Or maybe I've just been too busy making videos and not doing more exploring. But yeah, well done. I've never had one of those myself. So congrats. Another notch on your codex, no doubt. This one's an interesting one. I think we might get something close orbiting in a minute, but I'm not gonna dwell on the information panels. I'm just gonna quickly scan everything because we want to do some more mapping. Yep. Okay. Yeah, what I was also going to talk about whilst we're doing this slightly monotonous scanning is the O-class stars. Not only are they the biggest and brightest, but also Waterworld wasn't even focusing there. Not only are they the biggest or brightest, but also when you see O-star in the galaxy map, don't assume that that's the only star in that system, because the O-class stars, and this is how it works for me in my head anyway, because they're so big and bright, it actually shields or masks other stars in that system. And quite often you'll go to an O-class system thinking that there's only going to be one star, and there could be 20 or 30 stars. And there are some good places to go to find that sort of phenomenon. Oh, it's a terraformable Rocky. Nice. There are some great places to go for that, but I'll do that in another video on places to go and visit and all that good stuff. Let's quickly finish off. Oh, that was nice. But Sure if that was a landable. Right, let's just quickly finish scanning this off and then we'll look at the system map to ascertain what we've got. Is that everything there? Yep. How many got to go? Not many. Oh, look at that, just on the edge of the star. That's good. Saves me having to mess about. One of those. That's a binary pair of planets there. What else? We had something over here somewhere. Go in tuning right. View. Which way go in that view? One more to go. And it's a gas giant. Where does she blow? Shout if you see a blob in the sky. Did I see something over here then? No. Let's hurry up and get this sorted. I'm conscious of the time, so I do want to get over and scan. Oh, there we go. Okay, so this is a gas giant. Now, I can tell you that this one is not ringed because the arrows aren't splayed out. Let's see. Phew. Thought I was going to get it wrong then. So, there we go. I've just seen this question. Hi Kermit, but how you doing? How is it an O giant can form a system like that? If I recall, they're short-lived. Yes, they are short-lived, and that's what makes them so big. Because the bigger a star, the more mass it has. Yep, the more gas it has. And therefore the more violently that gas gets burned, all that hydrogen gets burned quicker, because there's so much pressure. It burns, and it basically burns itself out really quickly, and then ultimately, of course, it'll either turn into a neutron star or a black hole, or even a white dwarf, depending. Without getting into too much detail, but yeah, it's because they're so massive, they burn out really quickly, and that's why they have such a short lifespan. Hope that answers your question. Right, okay, let's come out of this view. Let's have a look at the system map and see what interesting things we have. I certainly want to be going to scan a gas giant with rings. So these are pretty. That's a nice system, isn't it? So there we've got a water world. It's not terraformable, so it's not the most valuable, but it is quite a big one there. It's like 4 Earth masses, and we've got that one there. Which isn't terraformable. Looks like that one that's terraformable, but it's not. Anyway, so we've got those. We've got the non-ringed gas giant, but I think whilst I'm analysing all this good stuff, alright, okay, I think what I will do though is quickly go to these, because I was talking about orbital period and how important it is. And when you're looking for like eye candy within a map, you're looking for a shorter orbit period, and if you look at this one, these two binaries are orbiting, and it only takes 1 day for them to go around each other. So let's go and have a look. They should be quite close, and then we'll head off to this gas giant. Oh, maybe not. That's a bit far to go in a live stream. We'll have a look at these first. Oh, actually, we can use that planet there as a ringed example anyway. That gas giant's a bit too far to go and visit in a live stream, and I don't want to bore you whilst I travel for half an hour to a ringed gas giant, because there's plenty more examples. And we're on that next system is going to be the O-class system anyway, to the O-star, so that'll be nice. These are quite close, aren't they? I don't know why I'm going so fast. Right, these should be quite a nice view. They should be quite close together. Let's have a look. Remember, the orbital period in the map said 1.0 days, so they should be quite close, and they're also landable. And of course, if they've got things like biological points of interest as well, then you can get some nice screenshots from one planet to the other. Always worth a look, isn't it? And here we go. And if I just move these, come around this way, I always like to view the planets with a darker background. That's why I tend to explore at the bottom or the top of the galaxy. It's all relative, of course. And here we go. Now, because they're so close together, I'll show you another trick that you can do with the mapping. So there we go. That looks nice. So I'm just going to get myself pretty much aligned between them. Open up my mapper. And what you can do is you can actually target planets whilst you're in this view, just by pressing your target button, or whichever one you've got mapped. Where's the other one gone? It helps if you remember where they were. Oh, there it is. They are close together, aren't they? See, so using my target button, I can either map that one or that one. Okay, so that one's 2 probes and that one's 2 probes. And I can show you yet another trick in this scenario as well. If I go over here, it says miss, yeah? But because I'm pointing at that planet, I can still fire a probe at it, so check it out. And we'll map that one as well. And they both say 2 probes, but I'm guessing that, is it going to curve round? Is it going to miss? It's actually curved round. Hilarious. It must be to do with the orbit. Let's see if I can get it this time. So that one mapped 87%. I'll look at that 1% more. Come on, I'm going to get it this time. Yay! Hit this target. So I'm going to map because that one looks smaller. No, 81. Right, okay, so I want to be accurate now. So just one behind. And then onto this one and one behind as well. And that's that done. And again, notice the fact that I'm not actually pointing at the planets. They're off to one side. Don't worry about pointing at planets when you're mapping. No need. Alright, that should be those 2 done. Oh, I just noticed something. Geological 21 saves me going back to the system map to see what's what and target that one. Geological 7, so there aren't any biological. Right, let's quickly dash over to that ringed ice planet and map that, and then we'll go off to the O-type system and see if we can find. I'm confident O-type systems are really crazy systems. Not only do they shield stars, but you normally get stars with rings and all sorts of good stuff. Let's try not to crash into the planet on the way. So they are really great systems to go and explore. Right, let's head over here. Oh, that's a long way, isn't it? No, I've decided I don't want to do that because it takes too long. Let's just crack on to the next system. Now remember, this is a size 3 O-type star, so it's going to be really big. And of course, size 1 are the biggest. So yeah, hopefully, according to star law, it should be a large star, this. If we ever get there. These jump sequences are taking a long time tonight. Whoa, yep, that's big. You can tell when you come in. It's the only object. What a shame. Got nothing to reference it by. But how I know, there's no number of ways where you can tell this is such a massive star. The first thing is, if I target, it'll be a bit clearer. The star, or the center of the star, is 713 light seconds away. That is massive. You'll notice that when we go to another system and you look at how far away that star is, you'll see it's in the tens of light seconds, not in the. That is massive. For example, if you was to go to a black hole system, you would normally come out around about 4 light seconds away from it. This star, we are 713 light seconds away. That is absolutely massive. Let's go into the system map and see what that looks like. So there it is. If we go to the details, I so wish it would stay on the details. I think I mentioned that before. This is gigantic. It is 168 solar radius. And if you're wondering what that means, our star, as in the system's Sol, and as we know it as the Sun, is 1 solar radius. Okay, and that's what our marker is. That's our baseline. This star that we're looking at here, that we've just arrived at, is 168 times bigger than our own star, which basically would probably consume where we are in our orbit around our star in terms of size. Truly, truly massive. There you go. So that's a nice big star. It's a shame there are no bodies to go and investigate. There we go. Okay, so that is one big star. And you'll notice that when you try and scoop fuel from it and stuff, because you think that is huge. It's such a big star. Okay, we need to find another system now, so let's go out of there. Hope you found that interesting. It's a pity we didn't find any bodies around there. I just can't help noticing these O-types. Whoa. Oh, that's a system I've already been to. Was there any? That's the sort of things you can expect to find in an O-type, and I didn't map all the planets either. But yeah, they are truly amazing systems. Right, anyway, let's find something more akin to what we're looking for. That's an O-type, isn't it? And that's B. That's B. Don't want anything too far away. Let's try and go for more. See, that's actually a very small F-class star. Let's go and have a look. No, it's not a size 5. It's actually a size 6. So that could be interesting. It's not often you get a small star like that. So we're going via a neutron star. Earth's sun is 500 light seconds. Is it? When you come into the system, I didn't know it was that big. Thanks for that, Kermit. I've only been to the Sol system once, I think. I'm always thousands of light years away. Oh, these jump sequences are getting crazy. Why is it taking so long? Okay, what do we got? We got any bodies in here? 3. Okay, none of them stars. I don't actually need to do a fuel scoop, so I won't bother. It's only 23 light years to my next point of interest, but we will just see what we've got here. So it'll be 2 high metal planets. Where will they be? Do we want to worry about those right now? I have 10 seconds left to find them. I shall move on. Oh, there's one. And where's the other one? Oh, look at that, just inside my patient limit. Okay, all good. Alright, let's crack on. Right, I promise you that we find a gas giant, and we will find a gas giant. It'll be a ringed one, hopefully. This is that interesting F-class system. Let's see what we find here. Hopefully a gas giant, and we'll do that last mapping with gas giants and rings, and then we can put this live stream to bed. But I hope you have found it informative. Oh, right, Kermit, thank you for clarifying. So, no, the distance between Earth and the Sun. Okay, so that one that I discovered was 700 odd light seconds. So yeah, that O-class system that we was in, the Earth would have been inside the star in terms of orbit in Sol system, which is absolutely amazing. So thanks for letting me know that, Kermit. That is amazing. So we've got 19 bodies found here. Hopefully we got some interesting stuff. Gas giants is what we want. We want a ringed gas giant. Come on. Oh, that one doesn't look ringed. Can you believe it? It's not ringed. Can you believe that? I want a ringed gas giant and now I can't find one. Unbelievable. It's just a plain one there. We've got another gas giant. Hopefully one of those will be ringed. I just want to check there's nothing close orbit in though while we're here. Oh, there's no point, is there? Because it's not ringed. What am I thinking? Right, let's try and find that other gas giant. It's not there, is it? Oh, it might be. Nope. Come on, we want a ring gas giant. Oh, yes, and it's ringed as well. Look at that, fantastic. See, you can tell, like I said before, look how far away they are splayed out in terms of the arrows in the indicator. It's definitely a ringed gas giant, which is great. That's what we've been looking for. Right, and we can go and scan it. Oh, it's got loads of bodies around it as well. Interesting. So there you go, ring gas giant, perfect. Right, we can definitely go and map that. And what have we got around it? They all look quite close orbiting, actually. This is quite bonkers. I do like this sort of stuff. Let's just quickly map them though. We'll do all of these because this is quite interesting. There's a lot of planets around, or a lot of moons. Come on. Get these. Zoom again. Oh, zoomed out too far. In a hurry. How are we doing? Is that an helium? Oh, get that one out there. That'll be a bigger body. I see. Right, are we nearly done? Is that system done? Yeah. Please don't be hiding behind the star. Thank you. I'm going to map all of this. Well, scan it. I'm not going to map it all. That one appears to be quite close, doesn't it? It's got stuff on there, but I can't wait for it to resolve what it's got on there, because, you know, a stream is only so long. I've got a nice interesting system, and I did say the smaller F-type system I thought would have had some interesting characteristics, and indeed it does. Some nice close orbiting planets as well. Last one. There we go. Righty ho, so let's have a look at this system map and see what we've got. Nice. Oh, that's a shame. It's not a landable planet, but it's 1.7 days. If it's not less than 0.8 or 0.8, then it's not worth worrying about anyway. This planet is orbiting at 15 days. That's quite far away from the star, so there's not really a lot of good stuff to look at. That's quite a close orbiting moon around that one, but that's very common. Right, let's go and map this gas giant as promised. Oh, we're going the wrong way. Look at that. Terrific. So I'll show you now how to map a gas giant, but not only that, how to map one with rings. And I know a lot of people struggle mapping ringed gas giants because the ring gets in the way of your probes, right? So I'm going to show you the best way to tackle that. And once I've done that, that will conclude my scanning and mapping live stream. So if you do have any other questions about scanning or mapping, ask away now. Because I will be ending this stream around about 9:15, which is in 15 minutes, just over. Hi Jules, you're part of Distant Worlds 2. Yes, I am. And why do I always struggle to say Distant Worlds 2? I keep saying distance. Just habit, I guess. So, as you can see, it's a good place to be visually and that sort of thing when you get really down or high up above the galactic plane. You get much cleaner images. So finding an Earth like when you're this low down, you get a nice black background, and if you can get a nebula in it as well, then it's all good. Which reminds me, I need to do another video on the most highest nebula in our galaxy, which you can't normally spot from the galaxy map. So that one's always going to be worth a video, and of course it makes some great screenshots because you get a nice dark black background. Right, anyway, let's go and show you how we tackle those tricky darn gas giants with rings when we're trying to map them. Look at all those moons around there, it's very nice. Okay. So yeah, I can't stress enough as well, I know everyone gets into habits and they always end up pointing at the object that they want to map, but quite often it's a lot easier to get away from the body that you've mapped if you're not pointing towards it. In other words, you sort of skim past it. So anyway, as we approach, we can see where the ring is, and what we want to do is we want to get level with the ring so it almost disappears. Okay, and this one's a really difficult gas giant because notice how close the ring is to the surface of the gas giant. It even makes it even more tricky. So this is a great example, a real test. Anyway, let's come down a little bit and get that ring almost so that it disappears is the best place to be, and then we can approach it and get closer. So do that bit first. There we go, and doing this right now will save you a heap of time trying to map the planet. There we go, I'm happy with that, that's pretty much level. Okay, right, let's go in. So again, surface scanner says it's out of range, yeah? So when it changes to going too fast, we know we can put the brakes on and get on with mapping the body. Oh, I'm ducking under now, let's not do that, make it harder for ourselves. There we go, lovely. So it's still out of range at the moment. And yes, I am pointing at the planet, but this is just for demonstration purposes. Now it says too fast now, so that means I'm in range, right? Okay. So we go into the mapping. So, wow, we need 22 probes. Now I feel like a challenge now. What can I do this gas giant in? I want to say 10. I want to say 10. I do like to challenge myself, and this is a really tricky one because that ring is really big and it also goes right very close to the surface of the gas giant. So where do we start? So 10 probes, I reckon. I think I can do it in. So of course this isn't a Mickey Mouse scan because the Mickey Mouse scan only works for like 6 and 7 size type probe sizes. We're up to 22 here, so we're going to need at least let's see, it's 10, so 4 around the outside. Yeah, so we're going to need 5, 6. So I'm going to do it, in fact, I'm going to do 3 at the top, 3 at the bottom. Okay, so again, on the horizon, okay, and try and get as close to the ring as you can. Yep, without actually hitting the ring, so that will do me. Yep, so 1. Oh, about there. 2. 3. I'm going to go there. I just feel like I need to do one like there as well. And there. And there. Oh, I've over-egged it. I didn't think I needed as many probes. You can see they're starting to overlap. But that's not too shabby. It's not too shabby. I'll carry on the format that I was going to use anyway. Okay, so as you can see what we're doing here, we've kind of mapped around the outside of the gas giant now. And I said that I could do it probably in 10 probes. I think I might have messed up. But, you know, do like a challenge. So we've scanned half the planet by doing that. And the reason why it's only half is because look at all that overlapping. I could have been a lot more efficient there. I should have stuck with what I said and do 3 at the top, 3 at the bottom. Anyway, we are well within the efficiency target at the moment. So the next thing we want to do is I'm going to put one in the top middle and the top bottom on this side. So that's one about there and one about there. That will cover the front side pretty much. I'll probably need to stick one over here. Could have been a bit more efficient and do it diagonal. Then let's have a look at the back side, and you can see the back side's a similar shape. We'll get to that in a minute. We'll just do this. I'm only waiting for demonstration purposes. Okay, so we're on 63%. Obviously, I need to put one there and there to map it efficiently. But let's get around the other side. We want to tackle the rear side now. Now, we haven't moved. The ring is still as big as it is, and it's still in the way. But we haven't had to worry about it so far. And that's why getting level with the ring always works. So we want to get about halfway around. That's about the middle. So I'm going to go middle there. And middle there. And then I'll do the same at the bottom. Actually no, I'll wait. I kind of lost track of where I was there. That's going to map the two top halves of this gas giant now. Oh, it's quite close to the middle there actually. Oh my word, I hit the same spot twice. Yeah, totally lost track of what I was doing. It's talking and scanning at the same time, or mapping. Right, well I've one over there. So I haven't done my record anyway, or what I thought I might do. Bit sloppy really. I'll also go back round to the front side, and I'll plant one on that side, and one that side, and hopefully that will finish off the planets. Look around the back side. So that covered those two areas, and these two should finish the job hopefully. Will they do it? Tension mounts. Go on. 1%. Right, okay, no brainer. I think I'm going to fire one around the back there. So this is the back view that I'm on now. And I'm going to... Right, the challenge is to get it right in the middle of that dark patch. Okay, I like to challenge myself when I do these sort of things. OCD, I know. It's going to go about there. Come on. Right in the middle. And so this shows you how to tackle gas giants. They're big. As you can see, 22 probes required there. I've used 16, which is quite poor for me, but again, it was for demonstration purposes. That'll go. Oh yes, and that has hit exactly where I wanted it to go as well. Lovely job. So my accuracy is coming back. So yeah, that's how you tackle planets' rings. Get level with the ring, and then you can scan it pretty much just like a normal planet, and don't have to worry about it. Okay, so there we go. That's how you map a big gas giant. So I think there we've covered all the mapping now. You've got the ring technique. Get level with the ring. Do the mapping that way. Job's a good one. Of course, you know, if you're near a gas giant and you're deep in the core, you know, there's always a nice view to be had by just skimming over the top of the ring if you're bored or just want to take in the view. Never want to miss an opportunity for a nice view, and it can look nice from the outside as well as you just skim across a planetary ring. Like that. Lovely. So yeah, thanks Jules. Yeah, good tip about leveling the ring. Yeah, always do that if you're trying to map a ringed planet. It makes life so much easier. Yeah, so there we go, a bit of flying from the outside view. Let's have a look at the time. We've got 10 minutes left before I end the stream, so if you've got any questions about scanning and mapping, feel free to ask away. Let's just get a bit closer to the rings here. It looks nice. There we go. Feel free to ask. Also, of course, if you're not following me already and want to know when I next do a live stream or a live guide, obviously just subscribe and hit the bell icon so you get notified, and then you can ask me questions whilst I do the guide. It's kind of killing two birds with one stone. So yeah, I hope you find it useful. I think I've covered everything that I wanted to do on mapping and scanning. So we've used the scanner, we've described that in great detail. That's the DSS scanner, and shown you whereabouts things end up in the scanner. And it actually tells you below, you know, water world, ammonia world, Earth-like, gas giant. It's all down there, so you don't really need to have a quick guide to hand. It really just tells you, and after you've used it a while, you kind of just know where everything is anyway. What else is there to mention? Obviously the mapping, we've talked about the Mickey Mouse scan for planets. Gas giants is a slightly different affair, but the key thing is when it comes to ringed worlds, get level with the ring and then just map it like any other planet. And of course the biggest tip as well that a lot of people didn't realise is that you can be pointing completely away from a planet and then hit the map view and swing right round and map the planet, and then not have to worry about getting stuck in a gravity well. So I think I've pretty much covered everything. I know there's a bit of delay on the stream, but if there is anything you want to ask me before I close down the stream, feel free to fire away now, and I'll be more than happy to answer your question. Whilst we do that, let's maybe make one final last jump. I don't want to see me flying the ship, do we? No. So let's see where else we can go quickly. Is that a O type there? Oh, that's B. Not interested in B. So yeah, I'll just keep an eye on the text just for a moment. Let's try. Oh, let's go to a dwarf, the most dangerous star to go and visit of all time. Let's not go into the planetary ring now. Gas giant ring. So anyway, I just want to say to everyone that's tuned in as well this evening, many thanks for coming along. It's really nice to have company whilst we're out doing this sort of thing, and it's my first attempt at doing a live guide, and I hope my audio, video and all that good stuff has been useful. And if it has gone all well and according to plan, then I will do more live guides. I find it more enjoyable being able to chat to the audience and fellow explorers and answer questions as we go. Okay, so this will be our last system for this evening. 22 bodies. Let's see what we've got. IC and a gas giant or two. And where would they be? I'll tell you one other thing that's probably worth mentioning just before I end this stream, and they are very much that's a gas giant without rings, as you can tell, because if you look, the arrows are very close together, so definitely no ring on this gas giant. And there you go. It would have been nice to get one of those rare green ones, wouldn't it? Let's just quickly see what else there is, and then I will explain to you what I was going to tell you that a lot of people missed the opportunity of. Oh, this one's ringed. I think it's ringed. It's 50-50. Not sure. No, I don't think it is ringed actually. Looking at that. No, it's not. Oh, it is. Oh, it's 50-50. It's a very small ring, to be fair. But those were quite close together. Right, just map the last gas giant. Oh, that's definitely ringed over there, whatever it was, I think. There we go. Wow, they've got tiny rings, these. Is that it? Oh, I thought there was another one. Yeah, that's ringed as well, but they're small rings. Obviously, the wider the arrows, well, to be fair, that's quite a big ring, but anyway. Right, let's just quickly check this isn't a close orbiting body. And then I'll get back to what I was talking about. I can hear chatter on that scan, which is a bit weird. I'm wondering if this has got geological on it. Sorry, biological. I'm just going to let the scan continue because I'm interested. Has it got biological? No, it hasn't. It's just water geysers. I thought it had biological for a minute. Right, yes, one other thing that gets missed a lot, and I think that really underappreciated, and I'm going to end the stream with it, is planetary rings. They are so underestimated in terms of what to go and look at, because you can get some stunning views. Okay, White Dwarf's probably not the best example, and I will have to be careful because I don't want to get too close. So if I go into my filters and put clusters on, like so. Now I've got to be careful because I don't want to get destroyed because I'm telling you, white dwarfs are the nastiest things in the galaxy. Right, where's my target? Okay. So you go to a planetary ring and they're quite, yeah, I think we're safe going to this one. Just watch the heat. We're on 38%. 41, don't you get too high. The main thing we're looking for is that in the middle of the scanner, if I look down there, if that white dwarf, which is that star that you can see there now, if that starts to go red, it means you'll get into the place that you don't want to be. Not with a dwarf. But these are the most underappreciated places to go, I think, sometimes, and it's these asteroid belts. So let's go in and have a look. Okay, it's not the best system to do it with. We've got a dwarf, but you never know. We might get a nice little screenshot to end the stream with. Now, some systems, these belt clusters can be really close to the star, much closer than any planetary body, without the exception of planet Death, of course, that I did the video on. But quite often you can get some great stunning views from these because they're really close to the stellar body. I'm having to chase this one down. It's orbiting really fast, and what we don't want to do, of course, is get taken into into the exclusion zone of my ship, because that will be the end of me for sure. Right, let's see what we've got. So we get some nice big chunks of rock. And yes, these belts do orbit the planet, yes, you have to be careful not to get sucked into anything nasty. Give him a little tickle. Helps if you change the combat mode, of course. And weapons. And then make sure they're set to forward fire. Where do we want to go for that? I forget sometimes. Forward fire, there we go. A big cannon. So anyway, yeah, okay, not the best view, but never forget, never abandon these belts, because they can get some nice views. And when you find a nice place to park, you can do yourself a little selfie and end the stream with a selfie, a selfless selfie. If I can align my ship the way I want it to be. I'll get out of that mode. I've totally lost my bindings now. I think I know what's wrong. There we go. Right. So me and the rock and the dwarf. And notice that my vents are out already on my ship because it's still quite warm where we are, being close to the white dwarf there. Anyway, we'll leave it there. Thanks for tuning in. I hope you found it useful, and like I say, like, subscribe, follow, and you'll get a notification next time I do a live guide, or any other video for that matter. Thanks for watching. I really appreciate your feedback and your company. See you on the next one. Fly safe, Commanders. Thanks for watching. I really appreciate your feedback.